Hey, I'm Adam Eakle with KSL Outdoors. Today we're talking solar with Doug Shipley with Intermountain Wind and Solar. And Doug, you know, people come to my house all the time. They knock on the door.
Sure.
They try and sell me solar. I haven't done it yet. Why should I do it? And who's solar for?
You know, solar's it's very good for both businesses and residential. So, you know, it helps if you have a south-facing roof. If you got east-west, that's fine too. For the vast majority of people here in Utah, we get great sun hours. We're high elevation. Overall, the savings long-term are why people are going solar.
Most people think solar, I think, at least I initially did, that you had solar panels, you had a big battery system in your bottom of your basement, and it fed your house, but that's not necessarily the case.
No, in fact, that's rarely the case nowadays. Currently, what we're doing is we're producing power on your roof, you're using it in your home, and the excess goes to the grid. That can be mitigated by using a battery bank. Newer technologies in batteries with lithium, pretty substantial changes, and it's pretty exciting from my point of view. We started this business back when batteries were a big deal. So we were doing a lot of off-grid cabins, a lot of backup systems for people who had medical devices where they needed power when the power was out. They didn't want a loud generator. They wanted to save on their power bills at the time. Right, the economics were a little worse back then, you know, but people still went forward because of just that independence factor. They want to reduce their dependence on that power grid.
It's probably different for everybody, but if I go all in and I say, okay, I want 80–90% of my power needs met by putting solar on my house, about how long am I going to take to recoup my money and start making money off of my power?
You know, it really depends, but the standard is between 9 and 11 years.
Okay.
Really just depends on the size of your system and the price that you get. I mean, that's something, again, where Intermountain Wind and Solar is very competitive on price, but we want to keep it so that, you know, you'll notice the panels behind us. We only use the top of the line manufacturers. We're authorized dealers from Panasonic, SunPower, Silfab. Got a long history with some companies, Solar World, and some of these. They've been in the solar business longer than their warranties. And when a warranty is 25 years, it's substantial.
Yeah.
You're looking for businesses that are in it for the long haul because your system is there for 25 years.
What separates you from the guy that's knocking on my door?
You know, the biggest difference is we've been in this since 2008. We've been doing it, and we've been through what we call the solar coaster over the last 9–10 years, where, you know, ups and downs and peaks and valleys. But really, it's about knowing what you're doing that day of installation, and knowing the company that you're using is the biggest deal. That day of installation, it only takes us about a day, depending on the size of your home and the size of the system. But in that one day, you know, that investment just came to reality, and if it's not installed correctly, that 25-year savings isn't real. You've got to have it done correctly. Now, solar, you know, there's not a lot of moving parts. That's why the warranties are so good for so long. But again, it's that day of installation. You need to make sure that you're being taken care of beforehand in a good process, knowing who you're dealing with within the company, and preferably, with Intermountain Wind and Solar, it's one company through the whole process.
Those are your installers. They
Absolutely.
work for you. They're not subcontracted out to somebody else.
They're our employees.
Yeah.
You know, and so of our 6 install crews, you know, those guys, the project managers above them, our permitting team, our quality control team, I mean, we take this very seriously. It's not something that we're thinking is it's not a flash in the pan market. We're a hometown, homegrown. You know, we do business throughout Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Nevada, and Oregon right now. But we are based here in Woods Cross. We have been since 2008, and that's just, you know, our home is Utah, and for what we do here, you know, it's still a good chunk of our business.
There's some changes that happened, and I don't fully understand them myself, but can you kind of run through some of the quick changes that just happened?
Yeah, so Rocky Mountain Power is probably the biggest one that people are aware of. So what they did is, we talked about it a little earlier, but your solar power system is going to produce power on your home. First place it goes is into your home. So electrons go where they're demanded. And so they'll take the shortest route. If your home's demanding it, then it's used there. You're using less power from them, which is awesome, right? Then because we have to produce in a short period of time what you use over a 24-hour period, the systems are a bit bigger. You're going to produce more power than you're using. That excess power that goes back to the grid is what's changed. It went from 100% of retail, basically just ebbing and flowing credits with them, to 90% of retail.
Not a huge difference.
Not a huge difference, but again, it's something that seems to be a trend around the country. Utilities by nature, you know, haven't had to compete. So it's an interesting dilemma. We're what they call a disruptive technology. I take pride in that. Okay?
That's pretty cool.
they say it as if it's, you know, it's this big, well, what are we going to do with this disruptive technology? I love it because it's disruptive to their business model.
Yeah.
It's not disruptive to the grid.
Puts the power back in the home with the homeowner.
It does though, and I mean that is what solar is all about. And here in Utah, that is what screams to people. It's about putting the power in their hands, literally.
You guys have some incentives right now for those that want to come with Intermountain Wind and Solar and have. And what is that exactly?
So this is a radiant barrier, and we put this in your attic, so it comes in these big sheets. We staple it up to the rafters on the inside of your attic, and what we're doing is we're keeping that heat from penetrating through and using your air conditioner more. We're looking to save you money not only day one, but 25 years from now. We want to install products and install them in the right way so that if it's you, if it's the next generation homeowner, whoever comes in, they're still benefiting from the investment you made in your home.
And if people want more information to find out if the solar is going to work for them, just go to your website, right?
Absolutely. IamWindandSolar.com is a great resource. We painstakingly add a lot of information there to make sure people understand what solar is, what it isn't, so that they can make that right decision.
Cool. I learned a lot. Thanks,
Yeah,
Doug.
not a problem.
And again, check them out, IamWindandSolar.com.
IamWindandSolar.com.